It's great to have you joining us. So as we talk about this all the time, the Seattle housing market continues to soar. It is affecting thousands of people trying to move in, as well as those already living in this city. So joining me now, Mike Rosenberg. He is a writer with the Seattle Times, talking a lot about our growing housing market. You have done so many important stories in the past couple of weeks, really spotlighting the housing issues we're having, not just for homeowners, for renters living in Seattle. So thank you so much for being here.
Sure, thanks for having me.
Really appreciate it. So I want to talk to you about this latest story that you had just a few days ago that said nearly half of millennials have considered moving out of the city to have the life that they want to live.
Right.
Those were crazy numbers.
Yeah, what they found, there was a poll that just came out that 45% of millennials across the Puget Sound region said if they really want to live the life that they want to live, they think they're going to have to do it somewhere cheaper. So we don't know exactly if that means, out in the boonies of Snohomish County.
That was my question. Like, are we talking about out of the county, out of the state even? Like, how far was
It's sort of unclear. I talked to a lot of young adults for this story, and a lot of them said, well, I've already moved to Tacoma or sort of moved out to Snohomish County, because it was the only place I could afford to rent. So a lot of people.
You're dealing with transportation.
Right. So you're saying, do I want to afford a house and have an hour-long commute each way, or find somewhere where I'm just scraping by and maybe get to work a little cheaper?
What do you think, after doing a story like this, what do you think needs to happen in order to, I don't know, change a survey number like that, or have people reconsider the fact that, hey, I might need to leave this city?
Right. I mean, that's sort of what everybody's wondering.
Right.
I mean, short of some recession like we had last time when housing prices dropped, it's not really clear if it's just a matter of waiting out to see how much of these housing prices can go, how high they can really go. Mm-hmm. Or, there's a lot of apartments being built right now. There's a record number of units coming online in 2017, so that'll help with rents at least. As far as home prices, they're not really building any more single-family homes.
Right.
So people either need to start putting their homes on the market more often, which is hard because then they have to turn around and buy another expensive home.
And that's even harder, yeah.
Right, or something else needs to happen that nobody really seems to understand.
When you talk about the bigger picture when it comes to this fact that, millennials are saying, I can't afford to live here anymore, what are the risks of having an entire group of people say, we got to move out? I mean, when you talk about economy and vibrancy, it sounds like there's a risk there to the community.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about a potential huge brain drain. I mean, if you look at companies like Amazon and all the startups we have going on here, if they're attracting younger workers, people who are qualified to work in tech jobs, they already have a huge shortage as it is. Mm-hmm. And if you have people who can't afford to live here, it's going to be even more difficult for them to fill these jobs.
We were also talking a little bit during the break about the rental prices, the housing market here, how other big cities like us who have these crazy high housing costs, they've sort of leveled off, but Seattle is sort of the odd man out right now.
Yeah, we're sort of defying the odds. I mean, New York, San Francisco, LA, they're all sort of returning back to normal, and we're still seeing housing prices go up. So we're sort of this odd case in the nation right now, and it's sort of, nobody really knows, is this the last year of crazy rent increases, or are we just sort of going to continue along with this? But the best guess, I think, is that one more year and then things will maybe start to even out.
Level out just a little bit. I do also want to ask you, when it comes to renters, some city council members are proposing a rental commission. Talk a little bit about what this rental, because this is not politicians. These sound like they're normal people. They're people that are living in our community. Why does the city council want to put something like this together?
Well, Seattle is a city of renters. I mean, there's about 54% of the city households are renters.
Oh, wow.
Even though, majority of city council members, all these boards that advise city politicians, people that show up at city council meetings, these are almost, predominantly homeowners. Mm-hmm. So renters, even though they're a majority of households, are really a minority voice in City Hall. So they're trying to give a sort of special board just for renters to be able to advise the council on issues that would affect renters and sort of make sure that the issues that are already on the books, like a cap in move-in fees that they recently passed, are going to actually be enforced.
Clearly not everyone is for this idea. It sounds like there are already people who are speaking out against this.
Right. Landlords are saying, well, shouldn't we have a landlord commission too? Or maybe we should at least be on the renters commission, because it seems like that'd be a little lopsided in favor of renters. So that's an issue they're going to have to work through before they approve this.
It sounds like I guess that's always going to be an issue in every city. It's that battle between the renters and the landlords. But it's really been loud here in Seattle the past couple of years.
Yeah, because because you have you don't have rent control here, but everything else sort of around the edges is trying to help renters with different costs, and landlords are saying, well, that's cutting into our bottom line, and eventually something has to give.
Now, I also want to talk about another article that you had last week. This one caught my eye because you might remember this story. This was about a toxic house in West Seattle. It was purchased after a massive bidding war. The thing sold for what was like $425,000.
Right.
It had holes in the floor. Right. It was toxic inside. So the developers tore the thing down. They're still going to make a profit. What do you think? What do you think this shows about the state of our housing market?
It's pretty crazy. I mean, when this house sold, I mean, you got to understand that people couldn't even go inside the house. It was that dangerous.
Yeah.
The floors were collapsing, the ceiling was collapsing. So to have 41 bids on it and for it to sell for that high of a price,
crazy.
People at the time said that that's a little over the top, but now you have the house has been leveled, the new house is going up, it's selling at least on the market for about $1 million next month. And it just shows, I mean, all you need is land. You don't even need an actual house to make a big profit in Seattle right now. All you need is a little plot of land, build a little house, and you'll make six figures.
It makes me nervous too. But of course, I guess on the other hand, you could have some people say, well, that house was an eyesore anyway in West Seattle, so they had to tear it down. What would you say to people on that side, I guess?
There's two sides to it. I mean, in this case, yeah, that house was clearly unlivable.
Yeah.
In other cases, I mean, in Seattle right now, we're seeing an average of one home tear down per day. Mm-hmm. And almost every time you're seeing older, more affordable homes get torn down, huge box-like houses that cost more than $1 million going up in their place. So it's reducing the overall number of affordable homes in the city.
And the quality of life for a lot of folks.
Right.
Mike Rosenberg, it is always great to have you here.
Yeah,
absolutely. We'd love to have you back. Appreciate it.